Thanks for tuning in to the Palm Beach Podcast, a weekly show highlighting people making a positive impact in our community. With your hosts, sports chiropractor and athletic trainer, Dr. James Spencer, photographer and art director, Mike Jones. Our show is brought to you by Pump House Coffee Roasters, Hopportunities in Delray Beach, and the Lotus Travel Company for retreats and tours in Palm Beach County. Hello, and welcome to the Palm Beach Podcast. My name is Mike Jones. I'm hanging out at Media Zone with a couple cool people. Dr. James Spencer, how you doing today?
Always a pleasure. Unfortunately, though, not sunny blue skies today, guys.
It was very rainy today, but fortunately for us, I think we have a special guest in the studio.
Yep, every time special guest. Danielle, welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys, for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Why don't you introduce yourself to the guests and tell them a little bit about your business?
Absolutely. Thank you. My name is Danielle Maslany. I'm the CEO of DM Social Solutions. Am I looking here? I'm sorry. I don't know
you're
if I'm
good.
Up there. Here. I'm the CEO of DM Social Solutions, which is a full-service digital marketing agency. So we do everything from the beginning of your business when you're looking for things such as logos or branding, things of that nature, all the way to kind of rebranding, websites, and then content creation, social media management, and then everything on the back end, SEO, pay-per-click, things of that nature.
How'd you get into it?
So if we rewind back kind of over the last 10 years through college and kind of deciding, when you're young, what you want to do and what area you want to pursue. When I was really young, I was obsessed with Susie Colbert. So I was like, wait, she gets to cover football and be on the sidelines. This is incredible. I want this job, which it kind of threw off my family because you can take my dad somewhere and he has no idea. You can be like, okay, we're at a football game. And he's like, all right, where's the free throw line? And you're like, oh, wrong sport. So,
go sports.
Yeah. So let's go team. So my parents have no sports affiliation. Neither of them played sports. I played every single sport. I was like that kid that came home with the flyer and was like, I want to play this, but it didn't matter what the flyer was. I wanted to play everything. My parents were like, you need to relax. But I grew up, I played softball, cheerleading, dance, gymnastics, jiu-jitsu, karate. I did everything. I tried soccer before, not my thing, but I did every single sport. So I just had a natural love for sports. Fast forward, went to Temple, which is a top 10 journalism school, started studying journalism. I covered all the sports there, D1 sports, with my main focus on basketball and football.
Okay.
Taking it back to Susie Colbert, I really wanted to cover football. I got out on the sidelines and I was like, okay, it's kind of boring, right? And then you have to go up and then you're sitting there and you're waiting, you're watching the game from up top. You come back down, try to sneak in a quick interview. And then at the end, came onto basketball, fell in love, more action, fast paced. And I was like, this is my vibe. This is where I feel comfortable. This is where I feel at home. Started really focusing on basketball. And then from there, at Temple, during my time at Temple, I created all their social media channels. I'm like, if we're doing this stuff, why are we doing it for ourselves? Let's put it out there. Let's let these teams and the hard work that we're doing behind the scenes have recognition. Created YouTube channels, Twitter, Facebook, everything.
And that was early.
That was early.
Yeah.
So I did that and we got a decent following from the beginning. And it was just tough trying to keep up with every single sport. But then it was called Al Sports. And it was kind of our school video station, but we were the sports station. And we just covered all of the sports. And then I started blasting it on Twitter, blasting it on Instagram, Facebook, and kind of building our following. So my first year there, I think we had 4 people on Al Sports, including reporters, anchors, writers, producers, everything. By my senior year, I think we had 85 and there were tryouts.
Wow.
So I'm not crediting all of that to me, but you know what I'm saying? It was substantial. People knew, the awareness grew, and definitely due to some social media. Got an internship with the Flyers, and while I was there, same thing. I not only did rinkside reporting, that was my main thing, creating packages, interviewing the players, trying to really humanize them and show other sides to these players other than just, hey, they're professional hockey players. So I did some really cool packages to humanize them. And again, everything on social. From there, went to the Orlando Magic, and I was part of their new media team. Mm-hmm. So I was their sideline reporter, but I also did pregame show, postgame show, and just packages on every single thing that we did, whether it was charity or, training in the beginning, practice, something that a player was specifically doing. Maybe they were, had a special event that was tied to them personally. I covered everything and just put it out on everything. And the Magic during the time I was there, 2012, 13, 14, they were terrible. And the only thing they had like Victor Oladipo in his rookie year, which was cool because I'd covered him during his college year. So it was kind of cool, even though IU beat Temple. So it was a little
bitter.
Yeah.
Still sore about that one, huh?
Well, my first day with the Magic, he walked up to me. He whispered in my ear, he goes, "Yeah, we beat the Mals." I was like, "Get out of here." I was so mad because they came back and beat Temple. So I was upset. But yeah, we were, when you have a team that's not playing well, but my directions from the BOps team, the business operations team, was we need our rankings high for social media. So I was like, oh my God, what do I do to get people to care about a team that's going to win 3 games this year?
Correct.
So that's when I really focused on analytics, diving down deep. How do I humanize these guys? How do I show something cool? How do I provide some humor? If I'm going to follow a team, what do I want to see from that team? And I really kind of dove in and tried to find and highlight things that I thought were cool. And that's really when it started growing.
What a learning experience, right?
Incredible learning experience. Yeah.
And it's a challenge too to make something that sucks interesting to watch.
It really is.
In the marketing world, I've had to market legal courses, and I'm like, how do you make a law course fun on an ad or something, So there is a lot that goes in, and I think you're right. You have to tell the story of the people and the players, the brand, because sometimes it's not always the front end isn't always great, especially if you're losing games or whatever it may be.
Yeah. And you're like, how do we get people to watch this? There's a statistic, I can't remember the exact stat, but it's 80% of people will remember something if it's a story. So I can just tell you a random fact, but if I tie a story to it, you're going to remember it much more. So that's why I love humanizing a lot of things. And for clients, that's what I'll do a lot, because some of them will just be posting out random pictures or posts or saying, buy stuff from me. But I'm like, let's see behind the scenes. How did you make this product? What goes into your day to day? What do you do when you wake up? Show me what goes on behind the scenes of your business that makes it different than the other 50 people in your industry.
It's an emotional attachment too, right?
Oh, for sure.
It drives that story or that creative relatability, which is it's part of the deal. It's really cool.
Yeah, you're building a brand at that point.
Absolutely.
It's not just the logo that sells stuff.
No. Yeah, a brand encompasses so much more.
So talk about DM now. How did that come to be in the naming, because we laughed about that before, right?
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously my name's Danielle Maslany. So I was like, okay, DM. And I did this a while ago. I was like, okay, I just need a name. So I was like, direct message, Danielle Maslany at work, social solutions, which was kind of social media focused, but now we're a full digital agency. And we talked about it. I said, I wanted to rebrand, but I was like, it just makes sense. So my initials play off the direct message, which if you're on Instagram, the algorithm, they love
Funny how
DMs,
that works.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
The algorithm loves DMs. If you can comment to somebody's story or you get them in there, especially if you're trying to make a sale, a direct message is really great. So it does work.
I like that little play on words.
Yeah. And I think that, you are saying all the right things. If I'm a business listening, before you said we don't take stock photos. And that was the key to my heart from a marketing media guy, because I see stock photos everywhere.
So
and I'm like, I remember that terrible stock photo on Shutterstock. I remember that. I don't think everyone knows that's a stock photo, but you need to provide collateral for a business. And it's so cool that you care that much, where it's not we're just going to plug and play. We're going to actually go and create all of this from scratch for you, and you can grow with this.
Absolutely. It's something it took me a little bit to learn, is that not everybody is a match for business. So me and my company may not be a match for you, and vice versa. So it's really important when we start to work with a client, we'll say, okay, I'll go in and I meet them face to face and I see how they are and where they've progressed and where they're at with their business. If they're a startup, if they're a couple years in or all the way through, and where they're at with their brand development and marketing needs and what they're kind of looking for and what their goals are. And sometimes you can see some people don't want to let up control of their business, and that's not going to be a match, or they're too hands-on, or they want to control everything. We have to find a happy medium and see if we're going to work together, because it needs to be full trust. Like, you're trusting us in, promoting and running your business, commenting on your behalf. Like, it's something serious. And if it were the shoe on the other foot, which I put myself in that situation all the time, I'd be like, hold on, why should I trust you? Right? So when we meet, before we even talk any contracts, anything, I'll say, okay, give me every single marketing asset you have and everything you have online. So whether it be your website, your Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever social media handle you have, we take whatever you have, and then my team will go through it. We'll tell you which website links are broken, what is outdated, what services you have that you no longer offer. We'll go through your Instagram highlights and be like, these are from 93 weeks ago. We got to get these out. You have this photo, you no longer offer this service. So we go through and we do a full brand audit, and then we give it to them and we're like, here's the stack of everything that's wrong. And then this is our plan of action, what we would do. Let us know when you're ready to work with us. And then they're like, whoa, because we do really thorough before we get into anything. We just let them know, hey, this is what we would do. And if you're on board for us to improve all of that, we love it. And let's get started. But some people will be like, well, let's just do one portion of it. And it's not always going to be a match, because we've gotten to the point where we're way too busy. And we need to hire more, but I'm very meticulous with my employees. We want people that are strong and understand brands. And like you said, we talked in the beginning, I'm not going to use a stock photo, right? So I can take a stock photo of this, but if I put it with you, it's going to make much more sense.
And although it's a great idea to scale, I think you lose the quality over quantity model.
Oh, yes.
Right. And you lose a little bit of that control. And that's something that just with what I do, I recognize that as well. Like, I don't want to lose that aspect of things, and I'd rather charge a little bit more money and control the product versus growing too wild, right?
Exactly.
So it's cool to hear other, young entrepreneurs doing the same.
Yeah. So I spoke at an event. It was called Safe and Social. So it was a, properly distanced event for female entrepreneurs. I spoke on the panel along with 2 other women. And after that, the influx that I got, I had about 40 people. I want to work with you. I want to work with you. Help me do this. Give me more information. And it was overwhelming. Sure. And I was already kind of too overwhelmed with how much new business has been coming in lately. So like you said, it's like, okay, we need to figure out who really fits our style and what brands that we can envision really growing and helping them really get to the level they want. So understanding their goals, seeing if that's something that we can help them with, and then saying, yes, I see your vision. I love your product, your business. Let's work together. And then you'll see other people. You're like, well, maybe come back to me in a year, but you have to be kind of choosy,
And timing is everything too.
Oh, for sure.
Right. It may just not be the right time for them because they may not be mature enough or realize the potential. And that's also just like a little interview process for you. Like, hey, that client's going to be very emotionally draining. I can't take that on.
I do currently have one of those clients. And I mean, we could ask Brandon, we're not going to drop names, but you could say, hey, who's our emotionally draining client? And he'll be like, think. But it's tough, and I have clients on the West Coast as well. So it's difficult for me to shut off. So I've now put a do not disturb on starting at 9 p.m. on my phone because I need that mental break. I don't post. People are like, you never post on your personal stuff. And I'm like,
I don't need to.
When you're doing it for 58 other people, it's the last thing you want to do. Like, I don't care, guys. Like, I'll see you at Christmas for my family.
Correct.
It's like, I don't have time to post.
That's
it's draining.
awesome.
I lived in Australia for 5 years after school. And so I had some clients and stuff over there. And I get messages at 4 in the morning. And the same thing. It's like 9 to 5 American USA time right now.
You have to.
But kudos
for
to
your
you.
mental health too.
Kudos to you for saying no. I think that's a lot of people have a hard time saying no. You want to be a yes guy. I think there's value to saying no.
I really should have wrote some quotes down because I have so many in my office. I have 85 Post-its to the right of my desk. And I think it may be a Thomas Jefferson quote, but it's like, once you learn to say no, you will grow that much more. Now that's not verbatim, but it's something along those lines. Like, the power of saying no it's actually very powerful, to just be like, I can't.
And to touch on that, that's actually a book title, The Power of No.
Is it really?
Yeah. And that's...
I love books, so I'll have to check them out.
Yeah. And that's really... your stock does grow because it creates the exclusivity of, oh, I can't get into them. Or I can't work with them, and more it's almost more attractive, like a high school breakup.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh,
Yeah,
I've got to work. Yeah, I've got to work. Exactly. So it's cool. Again, just to reiterate what Mike said, like, saying no is also empowering for you too, because if that is emotionally draining, it's taken away from the creative flow.
Yeah, it really is.
And Spence calls them energy vampires.
Correct.
They just suck the life out of you.
Oh, it's good. Yeah.
That's a good one, especially with Halloween coming up.
Another good book.
Yeah.
The Energy Bus.
The Energy Bus.
Which is where that comes from.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm reading this book called Breathe right now.
Great book.
Yeah. I'm only like 7 pages past the intro, but as you can tell, I have like pulmonary issues. So I worked with this guy, Lance, out of TPI the other day, and he's like,
Lance is a good buddy of ours.
We know Lance.
Oh, really? Yeah. I was with him and Jason last week, and he's like, wait a second, you need Breathe. So I Amazoned it, and I'm reading it. My friend was making fun of me. He's like, oh, you're learning to breathe? I've known how to do this since I was born. I'm like, whatever. Like,
sure.
It's a really great book, though. Like, they're talking about your right nostril, left nostril, like how to relax if you isolate through your left nostril, through your right. I mean, this is more your realm, but
shout out to Lance and Jason.
Yeah,
bread and butter. Hey, boys.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Great guys.
Yeah, we'll see them in Orlando. Hopefully in February, right?
For the PGA show again.
Yeah, if it doesn't get canceled. Yeah.
Don't jinx it.
Oh, I'm trying not to. We'll sprinkle some good juju on that. I'd like to be there again this year. Although last year was freezing cold.
It was.
It was so cold.
It was brutal.
I remember.
One of my clients had an outdoor demonstration, and I'm like there trying to like hold my gimbal, and I'm like shaking. I'm like, and I'm from Philly, so I'm used to it being cold, but being down here, my blood has thinned. I'm soft. I don't like if it's under 63 degrees.
You're from South Florida now. You might as well just admit
I'm a Floridian.
Yeah.
So let's talk about like what's an ideal client for DM? Like who's the type of people, the type of businesses? Is it a startup? Is it a mom and pop? Is it corporate America? Is it a mix? How does that work for you guys?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I admittedly can say that I wasn't sure in the beginning. It was just like, I want to help people. I want to see businesses grow. And some exciting news coming up for 2021. I've really focused in kind of, everyone's talked about niching down, and we really talk about that with our clients. Like, okay, you're doing this, but let's find your niche. And I was like, well, wait, where's mine? And I'm like, well, we don't need one. We'll work with almost everybody, But then I figured that out, and I'm like, no, I don't. When I've gone through the kind of interview process with these clients, that I haven't. So it has to be the right person. Definitely not startups. I've worked with one or two, and they're just not ready yet for this type of service. They're kind of in the beginning, or maybe they can afford this service level. It just doesn't seem to be the right match with startups. So I'd say maybe a business that has gone through like the maturation period and kind of knows who their target clientele is, what their goals are. And it's not a goal of just, hey, we need to stay in business for the first 2-3 years. These are people who, have generated revenue, they're comfortable, and they're like, okay, now I'm ready to grow to the next step. So I think it's people who are ready to take their business to the next step, and people that recognize the power of social media and online marketing, but don't know how to really hone in on it. And that's when we like to take it like, you have great business, great product. Now let us just make it like wonderful and make you some more money. But for me personally, I have a pretty strong sports background, and
we couldn't tell.
And I really have focused on that lately. And it kind of developed, I guess it's kind of a South Florida thing and a little bit mix with my boyfriend, is that I now have about 3 or 4 pro golfers and like 7 pro golf instructors and a couple country clubs. So I'm like this, and these are my favorite clients to work on. So it's like, okay, am I creating something for this real estate client today or this? And then it's like when I get into the golf clients or sport aspects, I'm like so excited. My wheels, like the creativity, it's just like sparkles around me. I'm like, let's go. And, I recognize that and I go, this makes sense. I'm going to do a sports and entertainment division. So for 2021, my company is launching a sports and entertainment division. This is the first I'm sharing that news.
Heck yeah.
So pretty exciting. And that's where my focus is going to go. We're still going to work with all of our clients that we have, and the employees we have now, we're training to be in more of a management position and doing a lot of continuing education and kind of shadowing with me to understand the process, and still similar goals, just different audience. But this is where my creative wheels are going to work better, and something that just feels really right for me. So I'm super excited. And that's kind of the direction we're going.
Two things.
Yeah.
Cheers and congratulations for having the self-awareness to realize that that's really what you want to do.
Yeah.
And for the sports and entertainment division.
Cheers.
Heck yeah.
And I think, like us over here at Media Zone, like we would be lying if it wasn't a playoff like sport, the end zone, like being in the zone. Obviously us being sports guys as well. So maybe we can work out some partnership where we can be your photo video guys, and
Absolutely.
we'll send you all the social media work that I don't want to do.
That's awesome.
Definitely. This is the type of people I would want to work with.
Sure,
so,
right?
You figure it out. You know their personalities. You're like, do I want to sit in a room with them or on a call with them for 20, 30 minutes? Do I want to hang out with them? Is it going to be fun capturing video and directing what I need? And when it's a good fit and it feels good, it just it doesn't feel like work, which is what I like.
That's exactly what we always say in here.
I mean, does this feel like work?
No, we're just hanging out.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like a Friday night. It's weird that it's probably like light outside. Just hanging out.
That's awesome.
Well, what do you think about Media Zone?
Oh my God, this place is awesome. You saw me the moment I walked in. I was like, can I go grab the putter?
Wheels are turning.
I was like, this is great. And then the green screen, like I just wanted to start tinkering and playing with stuff. And I was like holding back from putting it all on my Insta story for a second. I just wanted to kind of take it in for a moment. Oh, I will before I leave.
I know.
Don't worry.
Yeah, we know.
Don't worry.
I do appreciate that though, just being in the moment and, again, about the experience. That's what we're obviously all three of us are about. Doesn't matter what our business is, and creating that unique kind of experience for these people is what brings them back and wants more. Yeah. So, that's cool.
No, I caught wind of your podcast even before you reached out, and we had a relationship before. I have a terrible back, and he's fixed me up a little bit. It was weird because this morning I woke up and I'm like, my left leg. I was like, is this just because I'm going to see Doc today, or is this actually because I was like lifting too much? We did legs 2 days ago. I know. I was like, wait, stop playing
placebo
with me.
effect going on.
Definite placebo effect.
Yeah.
Do you bring your table here?
Hey, just a quick adjustment in between shows.
Yeah, but no, I caught wind, like I said, prior to you even reaching out, and I was like, wow, this is cool. Like I saw, Jana, and a couple other friends on here. I'm like, this is great, and I've watched it, and I think it's really awesome what you guys are doing. Not even, almost a year into it, but how many episodes?
Yeah,
now?
you snuck in right before the 1 year anniversary. So, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like announcing something.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good.
So let's get you to thank some people. Who do you want to say who got you to where you're at today?
Oh, wow. Definitely my parents, right? So when I was 5 years old, my brother and I were Irish twins. We're 10.5 months apart. And I'm one of 5 kids. So our family's like,
wow.
It's wild in my house all the time. But when I was younger, the school said to my parents that my brother, like Steven, has like ADD, he needs focus, whatever. My parents are like, we're not putting a 5-year-old on drugs. Like, I'm sorry, but them. No way. So they enrolled us in martial arts, karate, discipline. And I would say that karate really, and it sounds silly because people are like girls in karate, but I'm like, you have no idea. It taught me confidence. It taught me self-discipline, self-respect, respect for others, respect for elders. We would be standing in attention stance like this. And I remember my sensei saying, like, if you have an itch on your nose, like, don't touch it. If you itch it, you're doing 50 push-ups. So I was always like, I'm not moving. But it was funny. My parents would make fun of me because in cheerleading, it'd be like, ready. And we'd be like, okay. And then in karate, we'd be like this. And I would get mixed up all the time because I was constantly running around doing 5,000 sports. So I'd say my parents for getting me in the martial arts field.
Was that Cobra Kai?
It was actually Tiger Women's Karate.
Okay.
Yeah, and they paid a fortune for 5 kids to attend, and I actually earned a 2nd degree black belt. I got my 1st degree black belt when I was 12, so I was like really into it. I was teaching classes when I was like 13, adult classes. So martial arts definitely gave me a really strong foundation to be like, okay, even if you don't like doing this, discipline yourself, focus, hone in, and just do it.
And clearly it's paid off.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So it doesn't matter what they paid.
Yeah.
No,
it's invaluable.
Exactly.
Like invaluable.
Exactly.
Now you just kick ass in the business world.
Yeah. It's funny because Brandon will always tell people, like, she's in martial arts. Like, she did jujitsu. She won like a gold in a NAGA tournament. Like, he'll brag about them. People are like, let me see your moves. And I'm like, it's not really like
Get over here.
Yeah, I'm not going to be like, you know what I mean? Like, you attack me in the street. Like, I'll put you in a knee bar or something. But like, I don't like go around just like,
I love
like
it.
karate chopping
That's
or
so
something.
funny.
But it definitely, the discipline, incredible. So I definitely have to attribute a lot of my discipline to that. And I think discipline in business is super important.
Parents in sports, huh?
For sure. Absolutely.
It's a good combo.
Yeah.
Where can we find you
All
online?
my happy things. So every single social media outlet is DM Social Solutions. And then if it's me personally, it's just Danielle Maslany. So
Should they DM you?
Not me personally.
Okay.
You can DM my business handle, but yeah. I keep my personal private.
There it is.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure, guys.
Yeah.
let's get you on that green screen sometime, you know?
Yes, for sure.
Cheers guys.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Palm Beach Podcast. Our show is brought to you by Pump House Coffee Roasters, Hopportunities in Delray Beach, and the Lotus Travel Company for retreats and tours in Palm Beach County.